Hello everybody, welcome to our CPL Civ6 weekly podcast. I'm Sarnath. Joining me as always is my co-host King Louis XIV, and our guest this week is Blade 7, again covering another first look for this week. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
Hey guys, I'm Blade. Glad to be back here again.
Good having you back. I'm King Louis XIV.
So we have a ton of stuff to go over. As always with our previous weeks, we're going over the first look each and every week. So the Mongols, Genghis Khan is back into this Civ world. Thank goodness, he should have been in the original. What do you guys think?
Well, I am glad to see that Genghis Khan is back. I really enjoyed him in Civ5. Out of the gate, he's a really strong Civ so far. We don't know how strong yet, because we don't know what the other 6 players are going to be and what other random balance changes they're going to do. So I'm interested to see what everything else they're going to add.
Yeah, I'm very happy. He seems like the perfect fit for a game like Civ to be a leader, more so than almost any other leader, because it's all about his hordes and everything, right? So that's like a free for all.
Yep. And
change
so
that's gonna
yeah,
there's gonna be like a big. Oh yeah, go ahead, Blade.
Louis.
Well,
Okay,
it
I'll go ahead.
definitely embodies the what Genghis Khan is known for in history, is getting those hordes together and really laying waste to everything around him. But I'm glad they touched on what he did for, like, the Silk Road is the biggest highlight in the first look, for example, with him uniting all of that together.
Yeah, going over his abilities right here. His civilization ability is the Mongol Horde. That means all cavalry class units gain +3 combat strength and a chance to capture defeated enemy cavalry units. So this is basically what the Sea Dog does on water, but with all cavalry units on land. So if you're going up against, I don't know, say Mamluks or Cossacks, like, you come along with these guys here and you get them on your side. It's going to be depend on exactly what that percentage of the capture is and how wounded those now Mongolian units are going to be. It's going to be a game changer. You're not going to want to use Cav against Mongolia. And then his leader ability is starting a trade route immediately creates a trading post in the destination city, receiving an extra level of diplomatic visibility for possessing a trading post in any city of a civilization. All Mongolian units gain +3 combat strength for each level of diplomatic visibility on their opponent. This change right here, or this bonus on top of Mongolia, is huge. So he automatically gets a +3 on all of his cavalry units, and then you set up a trade route, and now that trading post is there, you get another +3. You get another level of diplomatic visibility when you send a trade delegation, or you send an embassy. But both of those items immediately go away as soon as you declare war, so you'll never get that +3 from either one of those features. But you also get diplomatic visibility when you tech, what's the tech here? Printing. So Mongolia is easily going to have a +9 or maybe even a +12 if he gets all of the diplomatic levels on all the civilizations. Now, to counter this, easiest thing to do is declare war on first contact. Because you declare war on first contact, he could never set up a trade route to your city getting that +3. His special building is I'm going to butcher this name here, it's the Ordu, I believe. And it's a unique stable replacement. So when you build the stable replacement, all cavalry class units gain an additional +1 movement, and And so that +1 movement, along with the extra combat experience gained from any other barrack or stable, is going to be huge. So now any cavalry unit, which is a base of +4, is now going to be base +5. And then you put a general in there, and now you're looking at +6. That's huge. Another bonus of his units, or actually going into his unique unit now. His unique unit is a Keshig, and this is a ranged knight, basically. It's not a replacement of the knight, so you have to hard build it once you get to stirrups. But it's got a combat strength of 30 and a range strength of 40 with 2 range and 4 base movement. But it's got the range strength promotion tree. So you get the +10 from being in a district, or like the +7 from any volley attack. So those stats, right? This is basically going to turn into a blitz field cannon rush. It's not quite as strong as field cannons, but it's also pretty huge. And one added bonus is any civilian unit, or any unit that is linked with the Keshig, is going to share the movement points. So now you have a settler with +6 movement, you have a ram with a +6 movement, all your generals or anything is going to be +6. Like, if you want to move builders from city to city really quickly, link them up there and send them across. Basically, like the Silk Road is your friend now. So he's got pretty good stats here. The Keshig has a 3 gold maintenance cost, and on standard speed, it's got a production of 180. So in all of our online games, that's going to be 90 production, which 90 production kind of sounds big, but since it is a ranged medieval unit, all you need is what's the card? You know the cards are?
Comes at
Feudal Contract. Feudal Contract is the medieval range card. So you get that at feudalism, and you're already on your way to get to feudalism, to get to civil service, or get to the second tier government. So it's really easy to grab. It's not like getting to the medieval cavalry card, which is chivalry, which is on the monarchy tree, and because nobody ever takes monarchy, it's a worthless government. So he's going to be able to use a production card. So now that 90 somewhat turns into, 45? And that's not bad. In any given city, that's going to be 3 to 5 turns. So he's going to be able to probably mass produce like chariots, upgrade those into knights, and then use the knight with the general with his Keshigs, and there you have your range strength with melee units. There you go, win-win. What do you guys think?
I was just gonna say that the other big thing is that like everybody gets that, like they're making diplomatic visibility more important for combat, right? So every whenever you get diplomatic visibility, whenever you go up a level, you get a +3 to your combat, right?
Yes. Every civ gets a +3 for diplomatic visibility. Now, the way they worded it in the video, I am unsure if that +3 strength applies per level of diplomatic visibility, or if it's just, like, say, I'm at level 1 visibility, and you're at level 2, you're now higher than me, so you get a +3 bonus. Or if I get to level 3 diplomatic visibility, I now have a +3 bonus over you. I don't know if it stacks or if it does not stack. Or if I could be at level 3 and you could be at level 3 and we both have +9. And they also did not specify if every other civ actually has a +3. They didn't identify that number. But the diplomatic visibility card, or not card, change, I would say, is going to be huge for France, because France starts with a +3, 1 level of diplomatic visibility. So from turn 1, any warrior, any scout is going to be like the pseudo version of American scout rushing. It's not as strong as it, but it's not limited to your continent. So now you have a scout with a +3 strength, and you could go scout rush someone as France now.
We have a bit coming from chat at this point, and the Keshik is apparently a knight replacement. So
no, it is not. It is not a knight replacement. They showed pictures of the tech tree, and on the tech tree, you have the knight, and then you have the Keshik next to it. And they also said in the video, it is not a replacement. You have to hard build it.
And also
it's a lot better than a knight, right?
It's better than a crossbow for sure. The increased movement as well as the additional bonuses being the big factor at play there.
Yeah,
so
I mean it's
road that you get such a huge movement bonus. Is that only for non-military units?
Yeah, but you can link like a ram, the support units and stuff to it, and that ram is going to move 5 times a turn, assuming it's flat. But
it's exactly like the level 4 light cavalry promotion, but they get it from level 1. They don't need a promotion for it.
Does it feel like already the ones that they've released info on are already stronger than your average Civ that we have now? Korea and the Dutch one, and there's 3 now, right? And Mongolia. Those seem to you guys like stronger than your average Civ that we have now among the.
For the most part, yes. Out of these 3, I would say Korea is the weakest one. She only has a nice science boost. All of her other abilities are crap. Her unique unit is crap. So if you're interested in getting an early science rush, Korea is your choice. Otherwise, those bonuses are a little lackluster. Yeah, you get an extra +1 science from a mine that's next to your campus, or +1 food next to a farm. That is not that great.
If you were playing on like a continent's map and you had a long time to sim, then Korea would be really good, then, right?
If you let her just plop down campuses without being contested, she could get a tech error ahead of you. Yes,
she'll
that
walk away
is
with the game at that point.
Right.
But you can say that about any Civ.
Exactly. And then the Dutch are gonna be awesome on fractal maps and island maps. That frigate replacement is awesome. To me, that frigate replacement is better than a Zhang, because the Zhang doesn't have a policy card. So, I mean, they're starting off on a really strong foot with these 3 new Civs. So, it's really interesting to see what the next 6 are going to be, and what the balance changes to the existing Civs that we already have. We already know France is getting a pretty hefty boost. So, I'm wanting to see what everything else gets.
There's a lot of.
I think they're going to go with. Go ahead.
There's a lot of extra changes coming in this expansion. And a lot of it's being kept close to the vest, we can safely assume. And it's really hard to speculate what's going to be really strong and what's not, because we have no idea what other changes are going to happen.
Well, they said they tend to want
the whole meta and the whole power structure of every Civ we have is going to turn you on its head. They could boost anti-cav heavily to where like horse and cav rushing is not going to be the go-to. So, and they could buff any other Civ. They could make Norway great. They could buff any other unit. So we don't know what's coming for us. So just to call these Civs OP at this point is a bit cuddling the cart before the horse right now.
That was an intended pun to talk about Sumeria, right? I'm going to call that an intended pun.
Although they're not any chariots, but yes.
Red, I think, looks like they are doing that. They said they're not going to weaken civs. They're going to bring the other civs up to the stronger civs. That seems to be what they're doing.
That is their motto. Is they're not nerfing strong civs such as Scythia. Which, speaking of Scythia, it's going to be an interesting strategy for Scythia versus Mongolia. I would love to see that duel.
I honestly think Scythia would walk over him simply because she's making units to a clip. So she will eventually overrun him.
It just depends what percentage of the time the Genghis can steal the horses from people.
That's just
so they didn't really say what the percentage is, right? How easy it would be.
Similar to how an Eagle Warrior can make builders out of things.
That and how you could capture ships with a sea dog.
I mean, the big thing to keep in mind with all of it, right, is that, you know, in the past, Firaxis has shown that they don't like, you know, talking about all the changes. They don't share it all. Sometimes they don't share anything. But it's really hard to make assumptions. It's like Blade said, the meta is going to be turned on its head. There's no two ways about that. It's going to be very interesting for the first couple months. For single players out there, I think you guys should be absolutely thrilled that this diplomatic visibility is good for something. You actually have a reason to make, you know, accept embassies and make them another civs, other than the fact that it pisses their civ off if you don't.
Now, do people even care? And I mean, I don't play many free-for-alls. Do people even care about making embassies usually?
No, but
in a free-for-all
after this.
Honestly, I think they would want to try, but people are just going to deny them. I mean, that's what I would do. I would play against Mongolia exactly like I play against Cyrus. Deny his first declaration combat bonus, and he's not that bad. You deny Mongolia from building that trader, he's not going to get that +3. You deny him from getting like a delegation. Delegation goes away when you declare war. It doesn't matter. So he is really, realistically, only going to get the +3 from the cav from the get-go. And he's not going to get a +3 again until he gets a spy and does a listening post, or until he gets to printing.
And that'd be interesting to see, because I would like to see a change of company in the expansion to where the demograph board, you only see things based on your diplomatic visibility of each civ. Like, you know...
That would be interesting, yes.
Yeah, that's the way it was in Civ. I don't know if it was like that in Civ 5, but Civ 4 was definitely like that. You didn't see anything until you start building up some spy points. I don't know if it was diplomat. I think they were like spy points, but same principle. I think this is going to make your CPL Challenger Series kind of dual settings more important, because I don't know if, like with this Dark Ages and everything, it might take a while. Like in a normal duel on a dual map, I don't know if the expansion you'd feel as much, right? I think you need a little more time. You do want to play a duel on at least a tiny map with the expansion, because in a regular duel, it may, right? I don't know if those things are going to come to play as much.
But
how they do that.
Tournament events, we do have the second CCC coming up, the Clan Championship Cup, for all those people out there that are in different clans, groups, organizations, whatever, what have you. You know, if you guys are interested, you know, fly your group's flag, you know, sign up for this event. It starts at the end of January. We have tons of events for all time zones. It's going to be Friday morning to Sunday night, non-stop gaming, you know, tons of stuff going on. Players from all over the world coming to compete.
The clans have that makes me think. I'm not aware that the individual clans have like a stylized flag. Do they? That would be cool if they did.
Well, Yeah, kind of. The suns have their little emblem.
Right, OP and KC and FX, they don't have like a kind of flag that shows that's them, right? That you just, the only way you know is it says FX, right? There's no, like, that would be, I think that is more like in line with how a clan would be. You would have a stylized flag, so I think that would be cool if all the clans did that. Icon, maybe that would be your clan flag instead of people have their little icon next to their name.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, I would say.
We
Yeah.
do have we have one, what, I think one more new clan. I think Merciel Ghost is talking about making a clan maybe before the deadline. So we may have, maybe we'll have two more, or at least one more. Actually, two more.
When is the deadline for groups and clans to sign up?
For new clan sign up, the deadline is December 31st. For new player sign up to join the existing clans is January 12th.
So that's coming up pretty quick. That's in 9 days for new groups.
Yep.
You want to talk about the different kind of modes that are going to happen in the clan? I think those have been set, right? We're just voting on now the individual settings, but it's been set, right? The actual kind of matches that are going to happen.
Maybe.
Right. The last 2 weeks we had the community vote on different choice game types. We had a list of, I don't know, 15 or 20 of them. And the ones that won, we have a 3v3, we have a 2v2, we have a 4v4, we have a series of duel games, we have a regular FFA game with the twist of you could only play one Civ. So I'm going to do a random draft, and it's going to say you're going to play this Civ, and then everybody's going to play that one Civ. And then our sixth game is the Ironman Ffa. And by Ironman, what we mean is it is a no-concede FFA game, meaning you play until you lose your last city, or you play until there's a victory condition. That is the only way to win.
Oh, and I'm going to be casting that one live, and it's going to be, whoa, it's going to be a long game.
Yep. And for that long game, I have default enabled nukes, because we are going to get that far, and I feel like nukes are just going to make the game go by faster. So I don't want people voting that off.
That's what the fans want to say. I think every fan wants to see nukes flying. I mean, I think everybody does. I think that's universal. We all like to see nukes fly in a game at some point.
There's
especially in a
not
clan.
more in this game more satisfying than watching that nuke go off on someone's city.
Yeah, and if you place it right, you could hit like
a little
two
more
cities,
satisfying, I guess.
wiping out an entire army of units.
It's got a nice animation. Cloud and a nice whistle take off. I think they did a good job with it.
Heck yeah, it's going to be very exciting. We have tons of game modes going on. It sounds like it's only 6. When you realize these clans are fielding team members for each event, or we have some groups that'll only play in one event or whatever, what have you. And you know, even if your group can't participate in every event, stop by, sign up, get involved, and just have a good time.
Yeah,
there's
the
even
first
duels
one
this
went
time.
off quite well, so I'm hoping the second one goes off well. We have, what,
Duels this time, that's
5
cool.
clans registered right now?
We have 5 right now. We have a 6th being formed, maybe even a 7th being formed as we speak.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get at least 6 clans. If we get 6 clans, our FFAs are going to be a 6-man game. So that's what I'm hoping for right there. If we get a 7th one, a 7th-man game is not that bad.
Hey,
But
it is what it is. I mean, the free-for-all is my cup of tea at this point anyway, but at the end of the day, as long, come by, have fun, represent your group, fly your community's flag, take pride in wearing that tag, and You know, it's a whole lot of fun. The last CCC, we had an absolute blast. So did all of the players involved.
And I think
Yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, it would be. I guess it would be a little better for clans if there was more animosity. But overall, for the league, it's better that people are chill and there's not really. I don't really pick up any like, oh, you're in this clan, like F you or this. So that's good. You know, that's not. It's not quite as good for the clan, like, competitiveness, but it's overall better for the league that people are chill and there's no real animosity between the clans. I don't think, which I think is good for the league. Like, people are pretty friendly amongst everybody. It didn't really make sense to me what I was saying, so I hope that you guys understood it.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. I spent probably 15 hours casting each day on the first one. I am most likely going to be doing that again for the second one. So
Oh, yeah.
long days of sitting there talking to myself. Gonna be fun.
You do that already.
Only on Tuesdays.
Yeah, you guys, I mean, that's pretty hardcore, especially when you guys cast those. Like, I almost feel like you need like another partner. Like in baseball, they switch every couple innings. They switch off or something. And those are like 3-hour games.
It really depends,
You need a break at some
When
point.
I cast the TCL matches for that tournament, I was casting for one of the games went like 9 hours, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't get worn out. I didn't get tired because the viewership was awesome. They were making tons of comments. We were having a great time there. There was lots of stuff to cover all over the map. It just depends how involved you get as a commentator. And there's a lot to see, there's a lot to say, there's a lot to do. And you wouldn't think that way about a game of Civ, but, tile improvements that are made, using builders to do certain things, because there's a lot of depth to Civ6. It looks like a very simple game, just looking at the raw game itself. But if you actually get into the nit-grit of it all, and actually really learn things about how these interactions work, there's a whole new world out there.
Even duels, which is the simplest of the, it's still like I still don't feel like I know what I'm doing very well at all, and I have like 500 hours in, and I still feel like there's a lot of basic things that I still haven't really mastered.
Well, that's a good thing too. I mean, if the game
I think
was
it's
too
good. Yeah, I
easy,
think it's a good thing.
no one would play.
Yeah, so
That,
there's
that
a
they won't.
ton of in-depth strategies than what to do in this game. So there's a lot more that meets the
Unfortunately,
surface.
all of them.
You played
recover
5,
every
right, Blade?
I did.
Played right.
I played 5, yeah.
Isn't 6 more? Isn't 6 more of a harken back to the more complex version, like Civ 4?
I
more
did not play Civ 4, but I could
is it
tell
more-
you that Civ 6 is more in depth than Civ 5 ever was. Civ
There are
5,
people who
you planted cities, didn't matter where they were, and so you just built a city because, hey, it's got good production, or it's got good food, or I could grab this luxury or the strategic resource, which was like, hey, I need to grab that uranium or whatever. But on here, there's more planning on where you build your cities, because now you got to look for, hey, where's a nice campus spot? Am I going to get a river to get an automatic +2 on my commercial, or do you have to get adjacency from like adjacent districts? Or where am I going to build this wonder? It's like,
Ooh. Speaking of wonders, let's talk about the Taj Mahal.
yes. We have a couple new wonders here. If I could find the wonder list on my page.
I was a wonder in Civ 4. I remember they would give you a Golden Age. I don't know if
So
it was in Civ 5.
So we have the Matterhorn. They kind of showed this off in the first stream, but now we know what its stats are. It gives +1 culture for all adjacent tiles, land units which move adjacent to this wonder ignore hill costs and +3 combat strength when fighting in hills. It's the Alpine training, which is the exact Alpine training that you got in Civ 5, but that was tied to Kilimanjaro, and now Kilimanjaro gets a nice plus food bonus, and Matterhorn gets the combat and the movement bonus. And then we have another natural wonder here. This is the big flat green plateau that we saw in the first reveal of the game and on those screenshots. It is called the Warama, I believe. I'm going to butcher this anyways. And this gives +1 science and +1 faith to all adjacent tiles. And it is a 4-tile unpassable wonder. So 4 tiles, that's like a 22, I believe. 22 tiles that touch it. Or 22 bonus on the science. Because you have, 3 or 4 tiles that are getting to +2s.
Those bigger ones are always good. They're great for religion. So when you have a 4-tile natural wonder, it's even better. You can usually get 2 like adjacencies on your holy site and really get a nice, like +5 or 6 bonus even, or more, sometimes even more.
With this wonder, I don't want to kill the tiles next to the wonder to build a holy site.
It depends on the wonder, though.
Exactly. Kilimanjaro, I want that food. This wonder, I want that science.
Dead Sea, you don't care.
Yeah, Dead Sea, you get a healing bonus on any tile, so you could build a holy site next to it, it won't matter. Crater Lake, it's a +2 for a holy site, but it doesn't affect adjacent tiles. Like if it's a flat tundra on that 15-letter word Icelandic volcano, sure, build it there. But if it's a nice plains, hills, Torres, hell no, you don't want to build a holy site there.
What? You don't want to get rid of that hill, deer, whatever?
Nope.
They added is there just more? Is just one new resource, or they've even announced another? I know there's at least one
2.
new resource.
We have olives, and we have what is it? Mercury? No, not mercury. Not jade. Why can I think? Amber. Amber was revealed in the first live stream video. Amber can spawn on land tiles, or it could spawn on sea or coastal tiles. So that's a nice twist there. Olives they revealed in the live stream on what was it, Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
Where are the yields for that? It's on here somewhere.
So I'm just excited to see people, when the new expansion comes out, I think there will be impetus to at least for a couple weeks try all the previously banned civs to see how they fit in.
Probably.
Yeah. Olives get +1 food and +1 gold, and it's a plantation resource.
Ooh.
So you build a plantation, and now that's a +6, or not +6, a +3 gold. So that's
Germany or Scythia, right? Those just don't even, unless you're playing a special game, right? So it'd be great to see people play those again.
I see Germany get played. I see it get banned, but I see it getting played a lot.
Almost all the time because of the Hansas.
Yeah. And then they also revealed the Taj Mahal. It is available on Humanism. Production cost is also unknown. And its ability is that it grants bonus era score for every historic moment for the rest of the game. And as we know, those historic moments, there's roughly 100 of them in the game that they said. You get era score based on circumnavigating the world, building your Keshig if you're Mongolia, founding a religion, all those big key moments in your civilization, you get era score for. You get more era score if you're the first one to complete it, or you get just like a +1 on score if like, oh hey, we found a wonder, but like 4 other civs already knew this wonder was here. So we get a +1. First guy got a +3, so that's big. So this guy, the Taj Mahal, is going to help you continue to get those heroic and golden ages as each era continues and gets more expensive to earn those eras.
You're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a heroic age for the rest of the game.
I wouldn't really say that. Depends on exactly what the bonus is. Does it double what you earn? Does it add like 50% more? If we knew exactly what the value on the bonus, we could tell if it's going to be super strong. But regardless,
will be useful if nothing else.
Regardless, it is going to be useful. It's going to make it that much easier to get those era score.
Are you going to know the other players' era scores? Is that all going to be out there?
It'll show up just exactly like it does on like your science score or whatever. And then as soon as the era turns, you could go and look at the stats to see who went dark, who went normal, and who went golden. So you'll be able to see all that.
What if your civ will like look different? Your civ will like have a different tone to it when you're in these
yes.
Or not? They do?
When you go into a golden age, your entire view of everything is going to be a little brighter, a little tint of gold on there, and when you go into a dark age, it's going to be like they dim down the lights a little bit. So I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work if people play with the 24-hour clock, getting light and dark. Personally, I never do. I just set it locked in at 12 noon because I don't like the dark setting. But, I mean, if it's dark and you're in a golden age, it's going to be really dark probably.
So don't play Civ in the dark anymore, people.
Yeah.
No more of those clocks. Yeah, just stick with daytime Civ. It's going to add so much strategy to it, right? Like, you're going to have to try to time your attacks, right, to when you're in the right age to do your attack if you want to use the dark age, tree, or you want to attack in a heroic age, or then you have to factor in, what other ages everybody else is in and everything. So it seems like adding tons of strategy to it.
The biggest factor is your loyalty. So if you're in a dark age and a couple of your neighbors are in like heroic or golden, your cities are going to start to waver in loyalty because now they are in getting more loyalty compared to what you're giving. So if they time like an attack and take over your cities while you're in a dark age and they're in gold, it's going to allow them an easier time to keep your cities from flipping. So it makes it that much better. And then plus, of course, in the heroics, you get 3 dedications instead of 1. And they showed off a few of the dedications that we get. Where is that screen at? Let me read them off to you. Dedications. Here we go. No, policy cards. Sorry for the delay. Where is my stats? Okay, here we go. They showed off Monumentality, which we already saw from the first view. You get Exodus of the Evangelists, which they already showed off in the first one, where it gives movement and spreads for apostles and religious units. But here's a new one that they didn't show off before. It's was it Hege Sunt Draconis, I believe? +3 population for cities settled on a different continent other than your home city. +2 movement for naval and embarked units, and +2 loyalty per turn for cities not on your continent. Boom. You get that era, you get that dedication, and you go on a settling spree, and you use that governor that makes it so it doesn't cost the population, and now all of a sudden you have a ton of +3 cities. So that's going to be huge on expansion. Let's see. And then we got another one on here. Free inquiry. Eureka's provide an additional +10% on quality technology costs. So instead of getting a Eureka and getting 50%, you're now getting 60%. So that's basically Arabia's ability. Arabia gets it, and now you're, what, at 70%? Or no, China. China got Eureka bonus. So that's going to be huge for China. And then we have the pen, brush, and voice. Inspirations provide an additional +10% on civic costs. Each city receives +1 culture for each specialty district. So that right there is your meritocracy card without using meritocracy. So if you use meritocracy, you're now getting +2 culture per district. I mean, that's an easy, 60 culture. That's huge.
Every district, so if you have 4 or 5 districts, you're getting a 10 or 8 in that one
specialty district. So it doesn't count aqueducts, it doesn't count neighborhoods, but it counts campuses, commercials, harbors, things you can only build one of them in your cities. Or not things you can build one of. Things that require population for. But you know what the meritocracy card is, right? It's basically this bonus. You get +1 culture per district. If you get that at civil service, that's why you rush civil service. So now you get this dedication in meritocracy, and now your culture is off the charts.
For now.
For the era, yes. And it'll go back to just the one for meritocracy.
But you're going to cruise through that civic tree like no one's business.
Right, which makes your golden age that much shorter. But you could stall it by teching everything in that era until someone else gets to it, but still, it's a pretty damn good bonus.
It's just nice to see something. It's hard to get culture except for those districts, which aren't always that great to build if you don't have a...
Culture is not that hard to get as long as you get population and you build monuments. Getting Coliseum definitely helps. I love getting a 6-city Coliseum. That's huge. But yeah, culture's not that difficult.
It's nice to have another way of generating it, though.
Yep. And then, since now, as we all know, Genghis Khan is a medieval general. Since he got promoted to an actual full-blown civ, he is no longer just the general, and we're getting a new general, and we are getting Hannibal. So
Hannibal's already a general.
Never mind. I knew that.
Barca.
Right. So we are getting a new general other than Hannibal because he's already in the game. They have not revealed that one yet. So I'm assuming he is just taking over what Genghis Khan's ability is for the general and just plopping a new name on it. Or they could change the ability as well. We don't know.
You're ever going to find out if they really meant to keep the general stacking in or not, or it's still a mystery?
We have no idea.
It's speculation, as we talked about this in, I think, one of the first podcasts I was on here, where, they deliberately took it out for the Mastodon scenario, but deliberately left it in the base game, which tells me it's not a bug, but, that's my opinion, and we still ban it in every game possible. output. I mean, if they considered it to be intended, then like they've had ample amount of opportunity to take it out of the game, and they've left it in.
Well, they had, ample amount of opportunity to fix the hoplite bug. That took a year.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean,
Although I did like that hoplite bug, it made hoplites like decent to use.
it made them usable against horsemen.
Yeah.
So, all in all, I think that at this point, we just need to see. We need more of the changes to be revealed. Not even just the changes, but just some of the added features or something. We need more information. Because there are a lot of changes that people were looking for, not just multiplayer, but single player as well. Because if you go all over Civ Fanatics, Reddit, subreddits, whatever you want to call them, they're technically called subreddits, but anyway, you see posts where people saying, oh, well, Deity's too easy, this is too easy. Oh, look, I've gotten a culture victory on every Civ on Deity. You see all sorts of stuff out there. People, both single player and multiplayer, wanting more. They're hungry for more. So, what is Firaxis going to do to raise the bar? That's really what we're looking for at this point.
Yeah.
I think so far it seems really cool. Like I said, it's definitely more of an expansion already, I would say, than they ever did in Civ 4. Those are more minor, like a good bit bigger, like actual gameplay mechanics change than anything I ever saw in the 2 expansions. I didn't play 5 much, but 4 this definitely seems bigger, much bigger gameplay change.
I mean, it is going to be a huge gameplay change because everything that came with base game Civ was essentially expansions in like Civ 5. Civ 5 didn't start with religion. It didn't get religion until God and Kings. And basically all of those items that they flopped up Civ 5 with are now included in the game. So anything on top of that, like loyalty, like yes, they are bringing back city flipping. It is now a more flushed out mechanic than what it was just like my flagpole is bigger than your flagpole, so we now follow your city. I kind of like that mechanic, or that visual, I would say, on like Civ Rev, where like I had more culture than my neighbor, and so my flagpole would be higher than their flagpole. Anyway, enough of my tangent.
That's kind of interesting, but yeah, definitely
Blade is in support of the propaganda flags that North Korea and South Korea use on each other.
Speaking of propaganda, we are getting a new spy mission. This spy mission is going to subvert loyalty. So I'm assuming it's going to be like a propaganda mission you put in the city, and he's like, hey, my people are better than your people. And they're like, yeah, you're right, actually. Let's waver towards the enemy city and try to flip. I'm hoping there's also a defensive spy mission that boosts propaganda in your city to boost your loyalty as well. So
It'd probably just be counter spying assigned to the city.
Yeah, but like I'm hoping we get like that counter spy propaganda mission in your cities to help counteract. Because like you know how you can move a general to a city, or not a general, governor to a city and boost loyalty. I'm hoping you have a defensive spy to help boost loyalty as well. But overall, I want the espionage system to get bolstered. And honestly, it is, for the most part, because we're getting the intelligence agency as a second-tier government building, which is awesome. So I want to see more. I want more. More missions.
I'd like to see spies. I'd like to see the spy system kind of take a hand from Masters of Orion, in that you have spies in like a pool, but let's say you just assign them to counter spying. Instead of counter spying in a city, they counter spy in your empire, but it's not as big of a direct impact since it's being applied empire-wide.
See, I kind of like how it's city specific. They do affect all adjacent districts. So you put it like a commercial center, and if you have 3 other districts around it, which I mean Japan does that wonderfully, he's going to cover everything else. So when I place my spies, I put them in the middle district, and it doesn't matter what district it is, as long as it's touching 2 or 3 districts at a time. But say I put it in my capital's campus, I should say. And if I look on spy mission and I'm spying on I wouldn't spy on myself, but I'm spying on someone else, and I see that's a low possibility of success, I'll just put it in another city. I'll put it in another city, do a spy mission there, and then move it as soon as the mission is complete and go to another city. So he'll never be able to identify where my spy is at, instead of just countering it with a counter spy.
Just like that they're taking really some of the better features from Civ4 and bringing it over, because that was a Civ4. You could make a city put it into turmoil, and then you could also flip cities with culture, and then they had golden ages. Those are all like cool Civ4 features. So I'm happy to see those Civ6.
I'm just glad to see diplomatic visibility take an actual role in the gameplay, because as it stands now, it does very little against the AI. It just doesn't offer you enough to really get yourself worked in with. But that'll change in the expansion, so I'd like to see more steps in that direction.
I agree completely, because currently diplomatic visibility is an AI only advantage. Like, it doesn't matter what it does. It doesn't do anything for multiplayer. The only thing it does for multiplayer is put more shit on your screen that blocks your vision when you're trying to do combat moves. It's annoying. That's all it does. It trolls yourself by getting a better diplomatic visibility. So
Maybe
tying it to combat strength when you're attacking, and so I have more visibility, it actually makes you want to work towards getting those visibilities.
Yeah, until someone first moves you 5 times because you're busy clicking shit off your screen.
I mean, they gotta put a button on there or something to either ignore those banners that pop up, or make those banners pop up somewhere else. Put them in like a folder, and like say you open up your government tab, you get your government things there. That's fine and dandy. That's awesome. Put another tag for gossip. I don't want to see it pop up on my screen.
You mean
it
you don't
is
want
better
to be
though
told every turn that someone has a new trader out?
No, I don't. I don't care.
It used to be in the patch where they had the 2 new civs that we have, the Indo, and the message is a little less. It was actually, if you remember, it was actually worse than it is now. They did make it a little less messages at you.
They did. They took out some of the erroneous ones, such as like the level 1 like diplomatic things or whatever it was. And in a couple patches ago, they made it so you could click it off. Before, it's on your screen, and it's on your screen till it disappears.
It does seem inevitable that when I have an important battle that I want to click on first, that I get a tech upgrade that I have to click on first. That just seems to always happen.
Oh yeah, I hate how it forces tech upgrades and civic upgrades center your screen. I absolutely hate that.
It's happening to other people, but you just, like, it's human nature. You remember it, and you feel like it's personal against you, like the computer's ganging up on you.
Like, stuff like that, they could just make... They have the sidebar notifications, all those buttons that rain down every time something happens. And why do I need all these pop-ups on my screen if you're going to put it there? Like, if I get a new tech or civic, why don't you just make the tech and civic icons in the upper left flash or something? Make them pulse, their blue or purple, fuchsia, whatever color you want to call it. You know, have them pulse that color in a flashing sense. And, I mean, obviously don't make it flash quickly so you don't, you know, make everyone have a seizure. Sorry to everyone who has epilepsy out there, that sucks. But, you know, But there's other ways to do it other than flood our screen full of stuff that we already know about. We don't need to see it.
Well, they do that because now you have the tech quote on there, and you got Sean Bean with his lovely voice reading out that quote.
Let him read the quote anyway. Just don't put it on my screen.
Let him read the quote. Just don't put it on my screen where it block my vision.
In fact,
I want to make a combat move and go kill someone.
In fact, instead of having me close that off getting mad about it and then I can't hear Sean Bean's voice, why don't you just not show it on my screen and let me hear Sean Bean's voice?
And that is one thing I like about the CQUI. The CQUI doesn't put those little pesky banners on your screen, and you could actually control what banners pop up. The CQI has a game setting option kind of thing. You click the little icon on the bottom left where like the mini map is, and you can pull up the gossip, and it's got a list of like 30 different items on there, and if you check on it, it'll say like know when someone makes an alliance, know when someone makes peace, or you could uncheck everything and not have those things clutter your screen. They need to do that in the base game.
Think anybody would ever make a mod where you could have do something about the first moves, like make it rotate, like you get first move and the next guy gets first move the other turn, or is that just too complicated?
There is a mod that is called I haven't used it in a while. What is it called?
The first moves between the players of different turns.
It's like a staggered turn. Can't think of the exact words.
Because I thought that's a way you could do it manually, but it'd be so hard to do that in a free for all. Like, okay, now it's my turn to do first move. Now it's your turn, and like that. I don't see. Yeah, you could do it in a duel, but in a duel you could do it if you agreed. But yeah, you need a mod to do it if you have more than.
It's like a hybrid turn. Basically, it takes each turn and cuts it into two. So you have turn 1A. In 1A, you do all of your building planning. Like all of your city management, all of your movement. Turn 1B is now your combat movement. And that allows like all the differences in loading times between each turn. Now everybody's in the game and everybody could do moves at the same time. It's not first move advantage.
How much difference does it make in the game? Because I know some of our better players that in our league have some of the weakest computers, so it must not be that.
No, it completely.
It makes a huge difference getting first moved. Like if I have an army of knights,
that are winning.
They're winning off of snowballing off of players worse than themselves. That's how they get into those positions where they win games. That's how free-for-alls are determined. You snowball off of players weaker than yourself, and then you accumulate such a lead that people feel they can't overcome it and they give up. That's how games are dictated usually. And if you have wars where people are duking it out and they're pretty level or pretty close to one another, or at least in the same unit types, like knight versus knight, stuff like that, first moves dictate that entire war. There is no two ways about it. How
much does it, like, how many first moves can you make over the other player if he's a little slower than you? Is it like four or five different?
I've seen people get 5 to 7 first moves on another person consistently.
And that is huge. Like, if I have an army of, like, I don't know, knights, and you have some knights, but a bunch of crossbows, you get 5 first moves with crossbows, and you're killing 2 of my knights before I attack.
Before he can move anything. Like, he's sitting there watching you kill his stuff, because he can't do anything.
Did you ever try playing this mod, the 1A mod, where you have this hybrid? Have you ever tried playing with that mod?
Yeah, I have, yes. I don't like it because it makes the game longer. It's not exactly I think it's made by Hellblazer. If the mod is even still up to date, I don't know.
I guarantee it's not if it was made by him. He's not keeping that stuff up to date. He pulled everything.
There's just no, unless somebody, maybe someday somebody will make another one, and then that is like one of the biggest problems with our games, right? Is that this first move stuff.
Yeah, it completely dictates the pace of a game. Sure, you might be able to out-sim that other player, and that could eventually impact things. But if you two are neck and neck, first moves will end that game. Hands down. And there's nothing more frustrating than...
The host, you get the biggest first move advantage?
No, you don't. People think you do because they think the turn load in is based on your ping, and it's not. It has a little to do with your internet, but it has a lot more to do with your CPU's raw power to push all that information and compress it and then send it out. Because basically, if you're neck and neck with a player and you're going to war and you're both really good at simming, whoever had the better credit card when they bought their computer is going to win.
That says he'll just turn it to strategic mode when it's big battles, and then that helps. I guess that does help a lot.
It does help a lot. Harambe actually plays in strategic mode.
He's the one who would tell me this. Yeah, he'll just switch it whenever he's in a big battle. He'll just switch it to strategic mode.
I can't play strategic. It's
not that bad.
Or that would be a lot of the people that do have the problems with desyncing all the time. I bet if they played strategic mode, they would have a little less of that problem. And it's not everybody. I think it looks all right actually. I think it's cool that you can really play with like a much lower played on strategic. It's nice to have the option. I don't think it looks that bad really.
So, I'd like to tie up our podcast for this week. We're going to go down the line here. Blade, then you, Louie, then myself. What is one feature, not a bug fix, but one feature you would like to see added to the game when the X-Pack launches?
You start off, Louie?
I guess just come to mind really fast was something you were touching on. If you get information like you don't know what the military score is, all this, unless you have some diplomatic visibility, and the more you have, the more stats you come up with. So you start out blind, you don't know what the military score is or any score until you start build up. You get to know more of them, or maybe different detail. I think that would be good. Just knowing everything off the bat, then you have to click on the score all the time. I'm always clicking on that score screen. It's like, but you have to do it. It's like because the other guy's doing it.
All right, what about you, Blade?
I touched on this a little bit, but I want a more flushed out spine. I want more espionage. I want more spy missions. I want a spy mission for the districts. Like I want one for the aqueduct. It could be poison water supply, where you either A, stop your growth completely for X amount of turns, or B, slow it down a lot for X amount of turns, or it could also maybe just kill one pop. With the governors added to the game, I want one where you could either A, kidnap the governor, and then just like you would a spy, ransom him off in the trade screen. That would be a cool feature. Or allow, or like when the governor is in your city, you know how you have that 3 to 5 turn wait period of the governor is moving to a new city? Have the spy reset that counter back to 0. Now you have to wait 5 turns before you get those extra bonuses that the governor is in your city. Speaking of say kidnapping, I want a rescue mission spy that say, Sergeant, if you captured my spy that's stealing gold from you. In a multiplayer game, you are never, ever going to let that spy go back to me. You're never going to trade it to me. It doesn't matter what. I have to kill you to get that spy back. So I want a spy mission. That's a rescue. I set it to that city, and I got a % chance of whatever to steal my spy back. I want one for like you know how the neighborhood gives you the spawn partisans, which is barbs. Like neighborhoods come way too late. Neighborhoods don't get built that often. So I want that spawn partisan one to be either in the city center, so any arrow when you get your spy, you could make barbs in that city, or I want it to be in like the entertainment center where he reduces amenities, spawns barbs, or any kind of thing. Just put them in the entertainment center.
All right.
And so for like the neighborhood, I want like a spy mission on there to collapse the housing market. We've all seen that in the last couple of years. So it would be cool if you could collapse the housing market to where like that nice little neighborhood up on the cliff with nice like +6 housing no longer offers +6 housing. It'd be a cool little feature.
I talk about one to come off what Blade just said. I just want to say I wish the actual spies were actual units you moved around. It feels a little disconnected to me the way it is now. I liked it better in Civ 4. You'd actually move the spies into a city.
Yeah, on Civ 5 as well, to where you would take that spy and just move around the city. It had like the level 4 scout promotion where it was invisible unless you
get rid of
next to it.
In 4, it was a resource. Like you saw, here's how much culture you're building. Here's how much science. Here's how much espionage you're building. It was like one of the things you could build up, which that made it cool because you could like tinker with it. Like I want to have more espionage. Now it just feels kind of detached to me.
But honestly, I like the spy system we have now a lot better than what it was in Civ 4 or Civ 5. Because I like one spy mission that we had in 5 that we don't have here is the fortification one. You send a spy in there, and it destroys fortifications, lowers the city strength, and then the fortification is based on the unit in that city. And so I want something like that where it reduces your city strength.
So basically more depth for the spy network and its various facets and what it can do. So just expanding on that would be nice.
More need, like do you guys agree that people don't build fortifications very much? Is that true? It's not that commonly.
They don't.
No, people don't build forts. Rome builds forts because that's easy. But just to get a fort is you need to get your military engineer, and then you get castles to build a fort.
Yep,
yeah.
I just wish they'd change that to make that either buff them more or make it easier to build, or so because that's a cool element that's not aimed like that's one of the cool things of building forts and stuff.
Getting the military engineer instead of making it two separate things.
So for mine, I guess what I'll throw is the notification banners that come up. I'd like them to be based, they're already based on your diplomatic visibility, but I'd like them changed to such a degree where instead of telling me about a trading post or, is so-and-so is trading with so-and-so, I don't really care about that. Why not give me, has noticed a gathering of military units around town X, or has noticed just various little tidbits that are actual gossip that you might pick up in here with someone, a delegate in a foreign country. Like you'll hear, someone might drop the ball and mention military units of horsemen or a cavalry army around in the northern section of their empire around a city up there. That's something your delegate might actually hear and would be able to relate to you. Okay, a new city was founded, that's already there. That one that can actually be figured out pretty quick. But, we don't need to know about trade routes. We don't need to know so-and-so is trading with so-and-so. Give us ones that are actually useful, but keep them clouded enough to where the guessing game is still there. Like, there's still that exploration factor of how true is this rumor that my person's heard in their country.
I haven't even. Is there a way I haven't tried to mess around with? Is there a way you can turn them off or put them in the background, or there's no way they're just as is. They can't tinker with the settings to make them go in the background to all those notifications.
Unless you use CQUI, there is no way to turn off the base game notifications like that.
But it's just something they could
Phone
do
can
with
do
the
it.
system. Just modify it to make it more shrouded with the information you're getting.
Like your phone, you can choose what notifications you want, how you want them. Why can't? Yeah, we should have that, because it is a major, annoyance for I think everybody, right? Some more than others.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's one thing I want to see changed.
So we're gonna
Put it in another tab. Don't put it in the middle of your screen.
We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna call it here for this week's, guys. But I want to ask.
We do have a lot of information we haven't touched on. We haven't gone over the new policies, the new dark policies, the new casus
it's happening.
belli.
I don't know what's happening now. It's like the show is over now. It's not over now. I don't know what's. I'm sort of like in a gray area.
An hour ago.
We had a whole bunch of things to talk about. We got sidetracked here.
Schrodinger's podcast. Is this podcast over or is it not over?
Do we want to go into these quick few changes? Some of them are quite huge.
Sure.
Okay, we have new policy cards. We have the Weasel Banken, or how do you want to say it. Trade routes to ally cities provide 2 food and 2 production to both cities. Alliance points with each ally grow 25. Don't know exactly what that means, but your alliance grows as you use this policy card. Isolationism. +1 trade route capacity. Domestic trade routes provide 2 food and 2 production, but cannot train or buy new settlers or found new cities. That is a dark policy card. So if you're in a dark age, your loyalty is hurting. Like, you're not going to be expanding new cities. Speaking of expanding new cities, by the way, they did tie in loyalty pressures on the settler lens. So when you look at the settler lens, you'll see, hey, if I plant on this tile, it has like a +20 loyalty to another civilization. I don't think I want to plant there because I might lose that city.
I didn't even know that's how it worked. So it's already built into like the distance. There is something like it's not even you can know ahead of time that this is going to be a problem because of the.
It shows up on the settler lens.
It's not just a distance thing. Like a tile right next to it could have a lot bit different loyalty, or is it?
It's based on distance from the cities. Imagine religious pressure. It's basically that same mechanic. With religious pressure only goes so far. The farther away you are, the less pressure right next to it, the more pressure kind of thing. It's that same basic principle, but tied into loyalty, and it shows up on the settler lens. So you know, hey, if I plant on this tile, I might lose it. If I plant on this tile, it has no pressure from foreign cities.
I didn't know. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that it had that. That's exactly the way the loyalty thing worked. That's cool.
Yep. And then moving on with other cards, we have the I can't say this word. Inquisition. Start Inquisition with 1 apostle charge. All religious units gain 15% combat strength in friendly territory, but you suffer negative 25% science in all cities. So if you're doing a always peace, religion only game, this card is your best friend. We have Twilight Valor. All combat units gain 5 strength while making a melee attack, but they cannot heal outside your territory. So again, if you're in a dark age, you're getting invaded, you're holding the line, you put Twilight Valor on there. They're in your borders, so you can still heal, and it's basically giving your units a free general. Your free melees a free general. Letters of Marque, 100% reduction to naval raiders who gain +2 movement. Yields gained from plundering trade routes are doubled. That's
Who's the
huge.
person? There's that one civ. There's that one. Is it a policy card or a civ that you can't plunder their trade guys at all?
That is a new policy card.
Not even.
No. That's a dedication. That's not a policy card. That's a dedication.
One that used to in this current version that you couldn't plunder them in the water, but this
that
is that
is
makes
a
them so you can't plunder.
state's suzerain bonus.
This one just makes it so you can't plunder them.
You can't plunder
Period,
the
right?
sea routes.
This one makes it so you can't plunder either route, land or sea,
No,
right?
you can't plunder sea, but you can plunder land with that suzerain.
Can't plunder them at all. This new one you're talking about in the expansion.
It's you can't plunder them at all.
That's gonna make a big difference.
Yeah, that's gonna make a huge difference. All your traders are now protected. You can send it to a city state that goes right by your enemy city, and they can't do anything about it. Okay, that's enough of the policy cards.
It's a pain in free for alls. I'm sure people are always plundering your thing. Yeah, that's going to be even big in free for alls for sure.
And then we got a little more information about the Netherlands unique unit. It is a frigate replacement. It is available at square rigging. It has a base combat strength of 50 with a range strength of 60. However, that range strength gets +7 combat strength when attacking defensive districts, which is your city center or an encampment. But it suffers -17 versus naval units. So -17 makes that 43 strength. A frigate is 45. So if it's a frigate versus D7, it's going to be slightly weaker, but it's still better to take cities with. It has 2 range, 6 movement, 5 maintenance cost, and 280 production on standard speed. You throw the 100% production card, that gets reduced. Since it is a frigate replacement, it comes in the Renaissance era, which means press kings will work for it. We talked about the Mongolian horde, the Keshig. New Casus Belli. We have 2 new ones here that we could see from a screenshot. Declare Golden Age War. It comes with a light warmonger penalty, which is awesome. So I'm assuming if you're in a Golden Age, you can make this declaration. Or I'm assuming maybe if your enemy is in a Golden Age, you can make this declaration. I don't know. Is this one new? Declare War of Retribution?
Yes, it's new.
Yeah, so that one's new as well. No idea what either one of these do, but hey, we got more. That's awesome.
Is that going to matter in multiplayer at all? Just except there's some people need to do it for their boost or something, right?
You need to get it for the boost. But again, warmonger penalties don't affect multiplayer. Like, we're all warmongers here. We don't care that player 1 is attacking player 2. We're not going to denounce him just because he's going to war. I mean, we just don't care. It's going to affect AI because now it's giving you the opportunity to make more casus bellis and reduce your warmonger penalties so every civ in the world doesn't automatically hate you. It's a nice bonus that it comes with a light penalty, so that's good. And the biggest change to city-states yet are the way your envoys work. Currently, we have, say if it's a a science city-state. In the current game, we have +2 science in your capital from having 1 envoy. For having 3 envoys, you have +2 science in your campus. And then in 6 envoys, you have +2 science again in your campus. The change now it ties to your buildings. So the 1 envoy is the same as is. It's +2 in your capital. But the 3 envoy bonus, it is now +2 science in every library. So if you have envoys in a city-state, you need libraries in order to get the bonus from it.
Oh, no, before it was just a campus. Now you have to have a library.
Yes. And the 6 envoy bonus, the +2 science now applies to every university.
So you actually have to build tall. They're trying to kill people building wide.
Yes. And that applies for economic ones as well. It is now +4 gold in your capital for 1, +4 gold in every market for 3, and it doesn't show the 6 envoys, but again, I'm assuming it's +4 gold in every bank.
That's anything that makes you more tall, like Civ 4 was all about the tall cities. I'm all for it because I think that's one of the funnest things is making these huge, powerful cities. So that's great. I think that they're doing this with multiple different game mechanics that they're making you cities is all good for me.
Yes, but they are nerfing the crap out of buildings. So your market now, the base game market, you get +3 gold for just having the market. In the expansion, it costs an extra 15 production, and it's only giving you +2 gold. And now, like, you have to build a market or a library, or not a library, a lighthouse in order to build a new extra trader to get a +1 trader route. So they're forcing you to get the buildings when the buildings are more expensive and for less benefit.
This is also going to hurt people that do early game war. Timing attacks are going to be pushed back a lot. I think this
exactly because you're not going to have the gold. You're not going to get a 3 envoy bonus and have just 3 commercials and be getting more gold. You need to build markets. Markets are expensive. Buildings are more expensive.
I like this change. I think it's going to make classical era warfare a lot harder to do, a lot harder to afford and pull off. Relevancy wars are going to become incredibly detrimental really quickly. A lot more than they already are.
I think it's great they're making it so you really get a bigger boost for building that university than if you have the CS, and a bigger boost for building a bank or whatever the equivalent is. So I think that's really good.
It's not a bigger boost. It's going to cost you more production for the same boost as you would have gotten without the university, because currently now, like if you have 6 envoys in a city-state, you're getting plus, if it's your capital, it's +6 science. If it's any other city, you're getting +4. And now you need to build a library and a university.
I mean, it just makes them so more important to build at least. Like you can't ignore those as much as maybe you could before.
Let's face it, unless you're getting ready to contest in Newton or Einstein, you don't even build libraries in universities most of the time if you have good fucking envoys in your science city-states. This is a change that honestly is really good for the game. It's really healthy for the gameplay.
It's going to slow down your progression for sure.
It should. I mean,
they're still not done. They keep saying, right, there's going to be more stuff this is not everything, right? They're still going to release more.
Oh no, this is definitely not
stuff.
everything. This is practically the tip of the iceberg.
It's going to be some interesting weeks when this February hits and we see how this works in the league. It's going to be some 3,000 or 4,000 hours suddenly. All that, of course, it pays off, but not as much as it did when they knew everything.
Like I've been saying, it's turning the game up on its head. you're gonna need to relearn the game, relearn timing pushes. You're not gonna be able to take a break from the game and then come back and be able to do your same strategies in the expansion. Like, you're gonna need to learn the different nuances with the governors, using your governors to now build buildings because they give better production towards them. I mean, it's so much
stuff it doesn't have. I mean, some of the stuff they add doesn't have anything to do with making the multiplayer like more deep or anything, but it just makes it more fun. Like those when you get these little, what do they call them, the markers? Like you just circumnavigate the globe and you get little. What are those called again? Those are cool because it just makes it more fun that you can say like, I did these 4 things.
Historic moments
From the multiplayer, just as like a nice thing. Like, yeah, I was first to do this and this and this, and it's all like timeline, right?
Yeah, you get the I would say the timeline is more of like a pat on the back for those single players out there.
In the game,
I'm never going to be looking at it when I'm in multiplayer just because I don't have time. With time,
marker stuff you can set. Maybe you can refer to the game easier. Like, yeah, I'd lost right. I got killed right when this happened, or right when this, or maybe you can pinpoint the game more instead of saying on a turn.
Yeah,
I think it's just a nice little thing.
Our default setting for turns basically is 150 seconds. With everything they're adding, with governors, with different game settings, we're gonna need to go to like 3 minutes, 4 minutes maybe. Like, we're gonna need a lot more time per turn.
3 minutes.
So I was gonna say,
I'm against. I just think people could be. I don't think people have to do everything every turn. I think it's okay to prioritize and say, like, I have this much time and I do the important stuff. I think that I'd like to see more of that instead of just everybody having to do every single.
I mean,
probably better at
150
prioritizing
seconds.
too.
I click and I get everything done in 30 seconds, 40 seconds maybe. I'm sitting there waiting, so I'm not really looking forward to extending the turn timer. But I mean, you're gonna have to. We got more shit to do.
No, we don't have to. People can prioritize their decision,
Yeah.
like we said. Besides, the turn timer is something that can be voted on.
Right.
But I highly doubt we're ever going to see a 4-minute turn timer. No one's going to want to play that game. Nobody's going to want to sit
in their ways. So I think if people, in this case, thankfully, people will stick. I think with the old turn timer, unless it's really terrible, because people just like to. They don't like changes. So in this case, it'll be a good thing that people are set in their ways. Because I like to see people have to prioritize too, and not have to click on everything every turn.
Just makes them click faster.
See, I'm starting to though. I don't see us going to a 4-minute. Maybe it will go more than 150.
It probably could in like say industrial modern. You don't need a 4-minute timer in the early game. We may see like a relobby come in turn 70, 80 and extending the turn timer even. Or maybe if they make the dynamic timer a little more workable than what the crap it is right now, then maybe we'd be using that more often instead of a fixed timer. But who knows? Like, we got more things to find out in the coming weeks.
That was good. You did save some of that best for last, so that was a good. Even if it wasn't planned, it turned out that you got some of your best stuff in there at the end about the city states and everything.
I mean, yeah, like, those city states are a huge change. So it's gonna be eye-opening for sure. Less gold early on. Getting those 6 envoys is not going to be important, or as important, until you get to the middle of the game and you're getting universities and banks.
That governor that can help pound more envoys in, right? So that's an option too.
I mean, there's no point. Like, yeah, you could have 6 envoys in there, but until you get to banking and education and build those buildings, you're not getting any benefit from it. Like standard turn 60 cavalry rush, it's not going to happen. It may be pushed back to 70 or 80, depending on how much it's going to affect your science, not having like envoys from a science city-state. So, like I said, metas and gameplay, everything is changing in this expansion.
Well, with that, we are going to wrap things up. So for those of you watching, whether it's live or later on throughout the weeks, what is one feature you would like to see added to the game? Go ahead and post that in the comments. I'll go ahead and keep looking for those, and we will pick some of those out. We'll bring them up next week. Big thanks to everyone for coming out. We really appreciate your viewership as always.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Hope to see you next week.
And we look forward to seeing you guys next time.